Hello. Hope everyone's well. Just thought I'd do a little bit of live crypto trading. Just if anything takes me fancy, anything I like the look of, I'll get involved and see what we can see. I'm just gonna go over a few things just so you can sense on what you're looking at here. So we've got a couple of things. Obviously we've got the chart in the kind of main view. At the bottom here we've got my screener, which I'm looking to screen anything that takes my fancy based on really over exaggerated price action. On the right hand side I've just got my little calculator, which is just giving me what the position size needs to be relative to whatever I want to do in terms of a move. And then at the bottom I've just got my current live trade. So if I've got a trade that's live, that's where it'll go into. So let's see what we can find. So right now I'm just looking at this this FTM token. If I just show you what I saw in the screener real quick. So you can see here in the screener on FTM, what it gave us was a move where we were approaching the pivot point. MFI was starting to look overbought, obviously because of the move up. Starting to look a little bit decorrelated from Bitcoin, which I always like to see. And also it was the Z-score is effectively where it's way out in terms of its standard deviation away from the, I think it's the 96 period moving average, the SMA. And so what the screener does is it just gives me anything that's starting to really show exhaustion or really starting to look extended. So I was just looking at FTM, it popped up, and just looking where kind of things look a little bit groovy. So if I look at my chart a second, what we look at here, we have this zone here, right? This is a nice R1, right? So R1 is a pivot point. So no, we've got a couple of confluences in this zone, right? We've got R1, obviously that pivot point, which I like to see. Usually these act as like a natural resistance. So in and around the fact that we've got R1, we've also got a nice order block or supply zone in that same area. The other thing is, from an MFI's perspective, you can see it's really starting to look a little bit overextended. I'm open to see another little push back up to get rejected at this R1, and I would be absolutely interested in taking a short position there. Let me just check what's going on, make sure I'm live and I'm not just waffling on. Yeah, I'm live. Cool. Okay, just mute that a second. So yeah, this one, got my eye on this one. I like the look of this for sure. This could certainly be something I will be interested in taking. Now every 15 minutes what you'll find is we have a load of tokens, right? So you can see here all of these tokens here. We're currently trading on MEXC at the moment, but all of these tokens, we're monitoring all of these. So every 15 minutes, 15-minute candle close, the screener will run and it will try to find anything that's, like I say, looking over exhausted. Now the other one that I picked out, incidentally, let me just check what that other one was. AGX, right? AGIX. So let's have a look what AGIX is doing, because that might tickle my fancy also. That could be something I'm interested in looking at. AGX. Let's see. So again, similar kind of thread, right? Let me just get rid of that. As you can see, it's massively oversold in terms of its money flow index. The other thing is, obviously we've got this very nice resistance order block here, or supply zone. So what I'd be looking to do with a lot of these things is go and zoom into that 1 minute, right? And so, you know, there's a couple of things I like to do. Number one, I like to, once we kind of map ourselves to where we're interested in trading, like right now I wouldn't be interested in trading this. It's not in a zone that I'm comfortable trading, right? So I'd want it to come at least up to this 15 minute. Number one, we've got the R1 pivot point on the companion indicator. And you can see that the R1 there is from the range ruler. You can also see that it's more than one standard deviation, without getting technical, for high volatility. So we measure 20 days worth of volatility for a particular token, and we map out what the standard range is. And then each time it goes above that standard range, the likelihood of it closing on its daily candle, you know, above 1 standard deviation and then above 2 standard deviations becomes less and less as a percentage. So it's really, there's a very high likelihood that price will come back into its kind of mean standard deviation, which is that minus 0.5 to plus 0.5. It's that pink one you see in there. So the kind of average range which we expect this price to finish in terms of its probability, is here, right? So this 0.5 down to here. So on its daily candle, this is where we'd expect somewhere in this zone for that price to finish. And so anytime it starts to get away from that, I just like to know that there's a high likelihood that it's probably not going to finish there. So again, always just looking for these things that'll give you that kind of idea of where price is going to likely go to or end up. So that's that. What has anything else come in? What's the time right now? So we should have had some more screeners coming in. Let's see, Ocean and Ajax. So they're the two ones that are springing at the moment, right? So let's look at Ocean. Let's see what we can see on that one. I used to trade Ocean a lot, actually. I used to like trading Ocean. Let's see. Now the thing you can do, you don't have to sit here and wait. You can put alerts on the chart, right, and wait for these things to happen. The moment an alert comes on the chart is the only time then I'm interested in getting into the 1 minute to look for what I perceive as a little bit of a head and shoulders pattern. I'll show you what I kind of look for when I'm doing these things. So Ocean again coming in, we've already tagged that zone, so that would have been not quite at R1. So you know, I wouldn't factor that supply zone as just the one single zone. I'd want it to maybe go and spike above the R1 there and maybe come into this zone here. So again, this is where it'd be more favorable rather than this zone, because it's already tapped that, right? It's just wicked above it, and so we'll be keeping our eyes on that as well. Should anything come to light, then we'll trade it. Yeah, if not, it's cool. We don't want to just dive into something that's not going to give us what we need. Nice rejection on Ocean. So just flitting between Ocean, FTM. FTM starting to sell off a little bit at the minute. This is how you stay patient whenever you're trading these things, right? Because, you know, I would rather miss a trade than get in on a bad trade. It happens too often where it doesn't come into the area you want. And the beauty about this, by the way, is by having multiple tokens on the screener, yeah, it's like, you know, if you're trading Forex, for example, you've got like a whole host of, I don't trade Forex, I typically just trade BTC. And it's sometimes it's boring because you're waiting for things to happen, right? I've got my zones mapped out on BTC, but they're nowhere near where I'm interested in getting into a trade. And so sometimes if I'm not trading BTC, this is the way I'll trade. I'll just put my screener on a chart and I'll figure out, you know, which ones are popping at the moment to get in for a nice little scalp here or there. So FTM, this is where I'm interested in getting into my trade. To map that out there. What was the other one? Ajax. Let's see what Ajax is doing. This is still continuing to climb. I was coming down. Still in that zone, but here's where we want it to go, right? So what I would do is when price starts to come into this red area here, I'm then in the 1 minute time frame, right? And I'm mapping to see when we get a bit of a head and shoulders pattern. So I want to see that structure break. So for example, what I'm looking to do, if this was the zone, what I'd be looking to do is, okay, we've had this nice move up here, and then we've had that break, right? Let me just move that forward. We had that break, so that break, that nice big candle that broke down there is what I'd be looking for. So that breaks down. Then you see this formation where if that's the height, I want it to come down and then back into this zone here. So this would be like, I'm not going to trade this because it's not in a zone, it's not in a major resistance zone, right? But that zone there would be where I'd be waiting for price to come back out, come back in. It doesn't always have to be a head and shoulders. In this case, it could be a nice M pattern, right? And I'm not a pattern trader, by the way. It's just on the 1 minute time frame. It's just naturally what happens with price action once it comes into these zones. Gets rejected, comes back, has another test, and then that's when you get back in, right? So but I'm only going to be doing that in the right zone. What's going on with Ocean? Anything happening with Ocean? Let's see. Let's go back to the 15-minute, right? See, that's what's happened. So it's come right into that nice demand zone. That demand supply zone rather was created. Let's see how far back that was. Wow. I'm gonna have to scoot this along a bit here. How far back that zone was. Let's see, you can go further back. Wow. Let me get to that. So this is how long ago that zone was created, which is yet to be tapped. That was on the 15th of August. Let's go back in there. Reset the chart a little bit. Let's get rid of the range ruler. Don't need that right now. But you can see rejected lovely right at that resistance zone there. Now that would have been on a 1 minute time frame, easily have been a nice 5-to-1 risk to reward ratio kicked in there. Right, anything else? What have we got? It's only 6 minutes in. Got to be careful of the weekend trap as well. Rejected. It's not in a particularly nice zone that I want to trade, and I want this to come up into this zone here. This is where I'm favouring this. So we've got our eyes on Ocean. Let's go back to the Ajax again. Ajax is starting to make a nice little move up again now. Getting closer to R1. Right, so this tagged it here. Let's see what it does. Still trying to push up. What else have we got? FTM. That's a like little rejection. This would be a nice trade. This is the trade I'm hoping comes into play. I'd be looking for to take that. That fills all of my criteria, that one. Feel free, by the way, to drop any questions in the comments if you want to ask any questions about any of this. Happy to assist. Any tokens you want me to have a little check into? Anything you want me to have a look at? Right now, though, the only ones I'm interested in is the ones on the screen, right? Because they're the ones that are exhausted. They're the ones that are really over. The ones that are really kind of giving us that nice over-exhausted price action. What's BTC doing? It's range bound, right? Not really doing too much with that. This is the best time for me to get your scalps right. It's the best time the screener works most efficiently when we're in a kind of upward downward range. Let's see, what else have we got? What's the screener currently saying? Let's see. We've got Ocean and Ajax, but no FTM's also on the screener as well. So let's go and have a quick check at Ocean again. What's Ajax doing? It's moving up nicely, coming into that zone. That's where I like it to come into. Once we come into this zone, that's when I'm keen to see what's going on the 1 minute, right? You just keep traveling up, baby. That's what I like to see. Come to Popper. Ocean. Oh, nice pin bar. It's looking super bullish, that. I'm not getting in on that zone, to be fair. But that would have been a nice trade. That would have been a lovely little scalp. Come in, hit that supply zone and then got rejected. FTM. Let's have a look at FTM. Oh, it's just messing around a little bit at the moment. So the one that's looking most favourable. Let's have a look at Ajax. Is Ajax, right? Ajax is in that zone, but this is another kind of clear zone where it's gonna have a bit of a battle on its hands. That's the 1 minute showing us. That's like the range at the moment where it's bouncing off, right? So what I'm going to do, because I want to map out that zone there just so I've got a visibility of it on the 1 minute. This is the zone where we're interested in taking a trade. Go back into the 1 minute. Yeah, we're getting there, we're not too far. So what I'll be looking for is, like, this could be an head and shoulders pattern here, right, as an example. So what I'll be looking for, where's my part tool? So, you know, is the first shoulder, and we come down, we make a head into the zone, break the trend, this is the key, and then come back up to test that trend there. It doesn't even have to come into the zone, just somewhere back into here, and then, you know, drop its ass. That's kind of the, this is the pattern I always look for whenever we're in that zone. Once we come up to a key zone, because here's the key thing, right? If price continues to just rip through here, well, don't take the trade, right? I haven't lost anything. I'm not taking that trade. What I need to see is this. If this happens, I'm confident in taking the trade, and if it loses and I end up getting stopped out, I don't mind, because a lot of the times you'll see this kind of turn, comes into a resistance zone or a supply zone, money comes back into the market, and then, you know, it starts to pop back down again. That's essentially what we're looking for, something along that lines. Right, Ocean, feel free to call out any tokens you want me to have a look at, by the way. Ocean, what's Ocean doing? We're only on the 1 minute. Let's get the 15 minute up. Yeah, still doesn't really know what it's doing. Just reset that so it looks a bit tired yet. What was the other one? Was it TRX? Not playing with that one. This one popped off a little bit earlier. It's come into the demand zone a couple of times. You can see here, comes back down. Nice demand, comes back off. Nice little 5 to 1. Again, when you're on the scalps, you've got relatively tight stop losses. I'm only going to be risking something like $20 a trade. I'm not going to go crazy. $20, something like that. Looking for like a 5 to 1 risk to reward. Aiming for like a, you know, $100 trade. Because a lot of these, I mean, if you look on the 1 minute when this came into that zone, you know, it's easy in hindsight, right? But you can, it's just long position, you know, like if you can map in that zone there, let's take that off auto second. You know, you're being relatively tight. Maybe you should go a little bit lower than that. You know, where did that go to? 5.5 to 1 risk to reward. That would have been a nice little tidy trade. Remember the zone was created here, right? The demand zone. And we knew it was a good demand zone because it was also on the 15 minute, right? So if we go back to that 15 minute, that's where it came into. So that whole zone was a demand zone. And then the 1 minute gives us a more triaged version of where that actual demand zone is at that lower time frame. In 1 more minute, it's going to give us some more, the screener you'll see down on the bottom here, where you've got Ocean and Ajax, you'll see some more tokens to look at, because obviously you can't go through every single token. It wouldn't be any benefit to do that, right? So this is what you want to look for. These screeners will give us the juice. So we're still highly over exaggerated. We've got Ocean and Ajax that's massively out of its standard deviations of its SMA 96 period moving average. Okay, 1 more minute. How long's left? Ajax has popped back in again, so that one's clearly on the move, right? So let's look at Ajax. It's getting there. Keeps getting rejected though. Let's go It's the 1 minute. See, you can see we've established a nice trend line here now, which seems to be getting respected. This is where we get interested. Not normally the greatest trade on a Friday, to be fair. It's not the most dynamic. Guys, if you feel the need and necessary, please drop a like, always appreciated. Subscribe if you're not subscribed, always appreciated. Drop a comment, let's get the interaction going. Who have we got in the crowd? It's a dull sport trading when you're on your own. Unless you're in the money. So, what are we on here? AGX, right? Let's head over to here. Let's go AGX. Let's see. So, risk would be, let's just see. Let's say it's a $100 account, right? 2%, we're going to go short. Leverage, just leave that at 100, doesn't really matter. Entry level, somewhere around, let's see, what's our entry level roughly? Looking somewhere around 0.22, right? Just as a starting point, doesn't really matter. We're only getting our eye in 0.22, right? Where would our stop loss be? Probably somewhere above that. Well, we don't know yet because we just don't know, but I'll say 0.23, right? And then exit, forget about that. So the position size is going to be 200, right? That will be for a risked capital of only $2, so I want that to be 20%. So $20 risk, that's what I'm happy to kind of risk on an $100 account. So it's 2,000 AGX would give us that move. 2.23, that's about right, yeah. So that's the position size sorted. So when I'm on MEXC, I know exactly what I'm going in at. See that position size on the right hand side? What I did is I put me total capital, that's how much capital I've got in the account, let's just say. And then what's the risk? 20%. Well, that risk equates to a $20 risk, right? So that means for me to be able to take the trade, I have to have at least $4 in the account or margin, right? But obviously from my perspective, sorry, that's not right. It's a 4.4. And then the position size is 2,000 AGX, which is to say that's that relative position between my entry and my exit, or my entry and my stop loss, will be a $20 risk. And that would be if I entered at 0.22 and I got out at 0.23, which is roughly what that area is. I might even expand that a little bit. It's a $20 risk. And what I'll be going for is something like a 4 or a 5 to 1 risk to reward. Does anyone use crypto.com? By the way, been having issues with them lately. Right, what else have we got? Let's see, because that's slowing us down a little bit, isn't it? Let's go back and check out Ocean, I think. Right, Ocean, where are you? So this is the pattern I like to see, by the way, because it's now broke that trend, right? And here's the key. So when you break that trend, what you're looking for is a nice little test of this here. I'm not going to take the trade because it's not in my zone. And we're always, by the way, you can always get front run on these things. There's an expectation that people are waiting to sell when they come into this zone here. So they start selling early, and that's always a possibility. But equally, price, you can get in here now, and then, you know, price can still come back up to there, and it's just not the best way to trade. So I'm always mindful that trading will always try to goad you into early entry, and it's not always the best thing to do. So have patience, it's the easiest way. So It's not always the nicest thing to watch when it's boring for YouTube and all that nonsense, but it's just, yeah, it's the reality in it, right? You've got to be patient when it comes to trading. And if you're not, trust me, you're not going to last long in the game. Right, what's next? We're going to look at Ocean, weren't we? Feel free to call out any tokens, by the way. I'm happy to kind of have a look and see what's going on anything else. So we've bounced again off this demand zone. Don't see anything in terms of supply up here. However, we are pretty much... There's the pivot point. Where's R1? We're at the monthly, right? We're at the monthly level. I don't know what level that is. Let's see if we can... R1's all the way up here, so don't see anything that interests me on Ocean, if I'm completely honest. Maybe a possibility of going long. No. Looking for a long. If it comes into here, it's already bounced off this this nice supply demand zone. So that's a possibility. What was the other one? FTM was the other one we were looking at, were FTM, anything here? We're only on the 1 minute. Let's go back to the 15. Again, it's the one I really like to look at because we've got so much confluence in this zone, right? We've got R1, we've got 2 standard deviations, and we've also got a valid supply zone. So this would be my favorite area to get into the trade. Give myself a little bit of breathing space, and then we go from there. Best thing to do with a lot of this though is when you're waiting for these for price to get into your zones, is to just set alerts. Get the little plus symbol, add an alert, and let TradingView do its job. Just let it tell you rather than the other way around. So I've got an alert on that one. What was the other one? Ajax. It seems to be moving down at the moment, but again, let's just put an alert there in the zone. And then Ocean. Let's have a look what Ocean's saying. As I said, we've already tapped that zone. We haven't quite hit R1 yet. But it's there or thereabouts. I don't like the look of Ocean, if I'm honest. I probably wouldn't trade Ocean. What's Ajax doing? Yeah, it's still asking about. Let's talk about a screener while we're waiting for stuff to happen. So, what is the screener? The screener is basically, you see all of these different elements here. You can see just lots of digits and numbers and stuff like that on the screener. What they are is going from left to right. What we're looking at is from left to right. The first number or the first set of characters you see is R1 or PP. R2, R3, whatever it would be. They are representative of pivot points, right? And pivot points are standard levels that are calculated from the previous day's price action, right? So they're the same levels for absolutely everyone. There's no arbitrary or subjectivity that gets involved. It's purely the same pivot points that are on everyone's chart, and so they're always levels to be respected. You know, however you want to deal with it, they're usually the same levels for everyone. So I always want to know, when are we approaching a pivot point? That's the first and foremost thing that I'm interested in. The second thing is the percentage away. So how far are they away from that particular pivot? So you can see, like, you know, on the latest one for Ajax, we were 1.19% away from R1's pivot, which is quite close, right? But only really interested in anything that's within 2% of a pivot point. And so the screener will only give us an indication of a notice if, number one, the first thing is within 2% of a pivot, right? Like I say, every 15 minutes we run this same calculation on every token that we're monitoring. Second thing is, or the third thing is just a little bit of a visibility of the arrow, the status of which it's going. So what that's telling us is price is moving up. You should be looking for shorts. So when you see the up arrow followed by the down arrow, that's saying price is moving up. Let's look for shorts, right? Sometimes it'll be the opposite way. It'll have a down arrow followed by an up arrow. Price is being moving down, looking oversold. Should start be thinking about going long. Then we have the MFI, just a simple momentum indicator that looks at momentum. So effectively overbought or oversold. The reason I use the MFI over the RSI is simply because the MFI is it's like a weighted average version of volume. It includes volume in its calculation, so it's not just looking at price, whereas the RSI only looks at price. The MFI also looks at volume, so how much volume affects the price. So that's what I'm looking for as well. So you can see here we're 88. We notify anything that's above 80 or below 20. The next thing is BC, that's Bitcoin correlation. So is it moving in the same direction as Bitcoin generally, or moving away from Bitcoin? So again, sometimes what I like to look at this for is when you're starting to see a token pop, you know, what's happened? Is this a news event? Is there something that's coming? Is there something that's affected that token that's making it do something completely different from Bitcoin? Again, sometimes it can be a nice early indication of a price that's about to kind of pop. So we want to know what's going on with the Bitcoin correlation. The next one is Z. This is probably the most fundamental one that I like the most, because what this is the how many standard deviations are you away from a specific metric. Now in this case we're using the 96 period SMA, simple moving average. So the further away you are from your 96 period moving average, the more likelihood that price is going to start coming back into a range, right? So you know, all of these things, when they lay them out together, they're all going for reasons why price is starting to look really over exhausted, right? So you know, approaching a pivot point, so hitting some natural resistance, looking oversold or overbought, starting to move with or away from Bitcoin, and then really overextended from its 50 period moving average or the 96 period moving average. So every 15 minutes we'll take a timestamp and it will show us exactly what tokens are ticking those certain criteria. It's a powerful way to kind of look at what's going on without having to, you know, scan through a shit ton of tokens, let's just say. So that's what we're doing with that. And as I say, it'll just populate what's what. Let's just go back to where we were before. Are we seeing any more excitement on the charts right now? I'd probably say no, right? Because, well, Ajax is starting to move away. Again, it looks like it possibly could have been front run. It broke the trend. So on the 1 minute, if you remember, I was looking at a bit of an head and shoulders-y kind of style pattern where I kind of went up here, down, head here, come down. So I'd expect price to come back in, make a bit of a shoulder, and then price to really come back down again. The only reason I'm not going to take this trade is because it isn't in the supply zone. You know, that for me is like, from a confidence level between 1 and 10 right now, I'm confident like 4, 5, 6. If we get into the my confidence levels of taking that trade becomes 8, and 9 in that kind of region, because there's a higher likelihood that supply zone is where the sellers will start stepping back in, right? And there's more confidence of that price moving down. So this may create that little shoulder on the 1 minute time for them to move away. I'm not going to be bothered about that. I'd rather just lose out or miss on a trade than get in a bad trade. That's the reality. Any more fun and games from anything else? Let's see. Ocean playing the game. It had some nice bullish move here, but again, it's just getting stuck at this zone. This in itself was a nice rejected area, so there's probably a decent supply zone here. What's if I go on? Let me see if we've got Ajax on here, right? Let me just see. Ajax. We do, right? It's on Binance. I don't trade on Binance, but let's just we're on the 30-minute, right? Let's just zoom in a little bit. Let's see if we've got any nice hot spots happening. You can see here around that kind of 0.22. That's that same zone that we're looking to get in at, right? You can see there's a lot of resting orders sitting there. So there's some nice resting orders sitting on the order book. That's also a point of control from. I don't know if I'm not going to go all the way back. Let me just see very quickly. Actually, yeah, it's a point of control from this candle here, where a lot of sellers came in. So that gives us a nice indication that that zone should more than likely get respected. So let's see. This is where I'm interested in getting an order also, but I didn't do it based upon the heat map. I've done it based upon this, right? So let me just go back into here. We're on Ajax, aren't we? Yeah. So again, that same zone here that we mapped in TradingView also gives us some nice confluence that in the heat map of where resting orders are on the order book, that there's also some good stuff there, right? So I'd be really nice. I'd like this trade. I would take this trade if we come into this zone. That's why I've got my alert on there. What was the other one we looked at? We looked at FTM, didn't we? That was our favorite one. FTM. So this is that zone. So that's in around this, yeah, 0.2382. What's that look like on a heat map? Fuck off. FTM. Let's go on the Binance one, right? So 0.2. I think it's, yeah, you can see it there, right? That's that big white load of resting orders there. Yeah, you can see that's a nice zone as well. So I would like, that's why I would like price to come into there. Let me just check. I'm not double check that. So we're saying somewhere around 0.2382. That's a lot higher up actually, isn't it? That's 2404. What's up at that point? 2404. 24. It's not. It's in and around that zone, right? It's pretty much in that supply zone area. Just gives you more confluence, but again, that can be front run again, right? Just because we've got a lot of resting orders here doesn't mean that it'll tap that. It's all to do with how much liquidity is required to move that market, right? So let's push that back. What are we on? 34. Did we get any new Ajax again? No, we're only a few minutes in, aren't we? Feel free, by the way, to drop any questions. I can see a few in live chat now, which is good. But any questions or anything, feel free to ask away. We do have a live version of this screener as well. So rather than having to wait for the 15-minute candle close, we do have a live version which pops up the moment all of those criteria are met. That's only for our VIP section, that, unfortunately. By the way, feel free. The link in the Discord is in the description. If you want to jump on and come and join us, it's free. There is a paid area, but it's absolutely free for conversations. We also have a free screener, which is this screener that you're looking at here. Not this one. I think we have ByBit screener for free. So again, if you want to join the server to get access to this free version of the screener, then feel free to jump in and you know, you can have the screener as well. If you are on Binance or MEXC or the other one, FEMEX, we also have TradFi as well for stocks. So if you want a screener for them, they are unfortunately in the paid arena, but worth the value, I think, because it just removes the nonsense, right? You don't have to start scanning on all these different tokens. You just look at what's available and what's popping, and then you do your TA. Nothing giving me what I like at the moment. Let's see. So what was the other one we were looking at? We were looking at FTM, AGX. Let's see what's AGX. It still seems to be driving down. I'm assuming Bitcoin's starting to move down now as well. Yeah. You can see it's tried a number of times to hit this supply zone here. It's got rejected each time. And again, this is that range, right, where we expect Bitcoin to play, which is the 0.5 standard deviation box, which is here, right? So that's that area. We expect on a daily, for the daily close of Bitcoin to finish somewhere within this zone. The likelihood, based on its volatility over the last, I think it's 20 days or 30 days it might be. Can't remember off the top of my head. But that's where we expect it to be, because the more, if we go into like one standard deviation, which is this next box here, the likelihood or percentage drops down to like 20% likelihood, and then anything above 1 is like 2% or something stupid like that. It's like really low in terms of where you expect. Like it'll happen once every 100 days or something stupid like that. So the range ruler is a fantastic tool because it's all about probability, right? It's all about where you expect price to be in terms of its daily close. So when you start to see during the day, or you know, during the trading day, when price is really starting to excel, where price more than likely will end up back into that range. Now, obviously, Bitcoin's a 24/7 traded instrument, but remember the CME futures, that has an hour off, right, where there's no trading. I think it's after 10 p.m. UK time. So after 10 p.m. UK time, that hour block is considered the start and stop of the session. So that's when you would imply that the range should fall back into that within that standard range. I think it's 10 p.m. actually. So what else have we got? Let's see. AGX, again, that's just not in the zone. We need AGX to come into this zone. That's the only time we're going to be interested in taking that trade. Let's see, what was the other one? Atom. I used to love trading Atom. Atom very much follows Bitcoin nowadays, though clearly you can see that there. Bitcoin Cash is another one. Again, similarly follows Bitcoin. Let's see. Lena, fuck me, I've been burnt more times than I'd like to with Lena. Lena's a horrible token to trade. It's great if you're on the right side, but terrible if you're on the wrong side. I might settle down a bit now. I haven't traded Lena for quite a while, to be completely honest. FTM was on FTM, wasn't I? Ocean, we were looking at Ocean before. Didn't like the look of Ocean though, because it wasn't in. Didn't give us anything that I need in terms of where it's moving. Again, it's just lollygagging there, isn't it, in that zone? Tomo was a nice token to trade. It's not exactly following Bitcoin, but you can see here again. Look at that. Just tagged the supply zone to an absolute, to the dollar accuracy, and then started moving away. So where would we expect that to come into? Right into that demand zone, right? What else have we got? Waves, used to trade waves a lot actually. Again, supply zone was created, comes down, taps the supply zone, starts moving away. Don't know where it's going to end up, but we've got a monthly resistance level here, or M1, M2. I don't know what the monthly pivot point will be. If I zoomed out, I'll probably be able to find that out actually. If we go to the 1 hour, it's a bit messy when you do it like this, to be fair. And I've got a lot of my old Jordans on here, I think. Yeah. M1 here, monthly R1. Let's get back into the 15-minute. Let's reset my chart. What a dull day. I was hoping to take a trade or two here, but nothing's give us that juice, right? Nothing's give us what we want. Another 4 minutes, we shall get the we shall get another update from the screener about what's potentially popping. But my favourite one was FTM, but just doesn't look like it's going to get there. Not at this time anyway. It's only, still got plenty of time, like, but I want it to come into this zone. That one has been popping, eh? Don't have many supply zones here, just a lot of demand zones. It's because it's just been rapidly going up. Look at that, jeez. Leave well alone. Let's see what else. Yeah, pretty much following Bitcoin. What's Bitcoin doing? Just staying in the range right now, isn't it, at the moment? My range for Bitcoin, though, is what? The reason I'm not interested at the moment in taking a trade on Bitcoin. I should take these off a second. Let's bring that in. These are the zones, right? So on Bitcoin, this is the range at the moment. And so, you know, there's a couple of things that I like if you take the strong to the weak. So this is the strong support level, right? You can see here we have the golden pocket beautifully placed in that zone there. And then this is the sweep range. So I've got a couple of ideas on Bitcoin. Like right now, let's just extend this a little bit actually. There we go. Ooh. So right now what I'm looking for, let's just get this golden pocket out there as well. There you go. My anticipation on this is that, you know, we're in this range and I think because of the move up, which has been for such a long time, we're going to stay in this range, building and consolidating to build liquidity before some sort of other move up or down, whichever way it might go, right? And so I think for me, what I want to see is a number of times we'll come down into this sweep range here, and then I'll be looking for a long. If price continues down, then obviously we've got the golden pocket here, right, which is the move between in the current range, the current main range. Right now we're in, let me just fix this because I need to sort that out. So that's why when we're in a range like this, I don't bother trading Bitcoin because it's just boring, right? It's range bound. The only time for me, this is when I revert back to the altcoins and trading altcoins, because you can get a lot of nice good trades on altcoins when Bitcoin's ranging, because it's just in that kind of move where it's just, you know, sticking between a high and a low, right? But Bitcoin, you know, if price comes up to here, I'd happily take a short in the sweep range, sweep the liquidity, come back into the range, come down here, take a long, come back into the range. We'll see a lot of this kind of thing, I think, over the next few days, maybe weeks. But in the meantime, I'm really only focused on, go back to my red list, on where we are with alts. So we should have had some new information. Right, where are we at? Let's see, baby. Ajax again. No, so there's been no new information, nothing. So it's stalled a little bit, the market, for a bit, hasn't it? It hasn't really done too much since we've been on at the moment. So I can't see anything that I'm probably going to trade at this moment in time. It's been a little bit bland. The problem is it's Friday, right? But I just thought I'd come on, say hello, see if there's anything worth trading. I've got some alerts set. I'm probably going to call it a day at this point, at least for the live. If this is something you like, whether you're watching it now or in the future, and you want me to do more of this, just let me know in the comment section, right? Also, obviously, we've got our Discord server. If you like any of these kind of things that I'm going over, come and join, say hello. And I'll see you guys in the next one, really. I don't think there's anything else to discuss. It's been a bit flat, hasn't it? Not really to take. So, that being said, I'll cut this one short, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.